If you got a notice from the SSA recently, or you're still waiting on one, there's something happening right now that directly affects when your money hits your account, and millions of seniors have no idea it's coming. Here's what's real. The Social Security Administration serves over 71 million beneficiaries, and your payment date isn't random. The SSA determines your payment timing strictly by the day you were born, not the month, not the year. But here's where it gets complicated. When the first of the month falls on a weekend, the SSA shifts your payment forward, sometimes by days, and if you weren't watching your calendar, that money looked like it simply vanished. That already happened this month. And later in 2026, it's going to happen again. On top of that, some months in 2026 will have 2 SSI payments, while others will have none, a calendar quirk that can seriously throw off your household budget if you rely on that deposit for rent, utilities, or prescriptions. The 2026 COLA of 2.8% adds roughly $50 a month to the average retirement check, but only if your payment actually arrives on the right day and you know what to expect. Stay with me because I'm going to walk you through exactly what the SSA's latest notice means for your specific payment date and what you need to do before the next shift catches you off guard. So let's start with the thing that nobody is clearly explaining to people. When the SSA sends out a notice, whether it comes to your mailbox or shows up in your online account, a lot of seniors look at it, get confused, toss it on the kitchen table, and just hope the money shows up on time. But this year, that approach could genuinely cost you, not because anyone is stealing your money, not because the government is cutting benefits, but because 2026 has an unusual payment calendar that is moving money around in ways that can absolutely blindside you if you're not prepared for it. And the notice the SSA has been sending out is directly tied to those shifts. So let's talk about what is actually going on month by month in plain language. First, you need to understand the basic system that the SSA has been using for decades, because once you get it, the rest of this becomes a lot clearer. The SSA distributes Social Security payments on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday of every month, and which Wednesday you get paid on depends entirely on your birthday. If you were born between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your money comes on the second Wednesday. Born between the 11th and the 20th, you get paid on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, your payment lands on the fourth Wednesday. That system is clean and straightforward. The problem is that the calendar doesn't always cooperate with it. Anytime a scheduled payment date lands on a Saturday, Sunday, or federal holiday, the SSA moves that payment to the immediately preceding business day. That means instead of getting your deposit on a Wednesday, you might get it on a Tuesday, or even a Monday. Most people don't notice when it shifts earlier, and money in the account is money in the account. But here's where it gets tricky. If you have bills set up on autopay that expect money on a specific Wednesday, and the deposit comes a day or two earlier than expected, your bank balance changes, and your automatic payments fire at different times, that confusion is real and it trips up a lot of seniors every single year. Now, here's the bigger conversation that is happening right now in 2026. Because certain federal holidays and weekend days fall on scheduled payment dates throughout this year, the SSA's payment schedule has some notable changes built into it. This is not a rumor, it's not a scare story, it's published directly on ssa.gov. And if you haven't looked at the official calendar yet, you need to, because there are specific months this year where things get genuinely unusual. And if you're an SSI recipient, you absolutely cannot afford to miss this. Let's talk specifically about what happened just recently, because it's a perfect example of exactly what we're discussing. Because March 1st, 2026 fell on a Sunday, SSI recipients did not receive a March payment at all. Instead, the SSA deposited that money early on Friday, February 27th. So the March SSI payment arrived before March even began. Now, for someone who didn't know this was coming, that February 27th deposit could have looked like their regular February payment arriving on a weird day. They might have spent it thinking it was normal. And then when March rolled around and there was no deposit, panic sets in. Some people called their banks. Some people actually called the SSA. And honestly, can you blame them? If you're relying on that money to pay your electric bill or buy your medication. Seeing zero in your account in early March is frightening, even if the reality is that your money came early and it's been sitting there the whole time. The absence of a March SSI payment is entirely the result of a calendar quirk, not a benefit cut, and the payment schedule returns to normal in April. That is what the SSA is trying to communicate with its notices, and that is what so many people are simply not getting, because the language in those notices is not always written for regular people. It's written by government administrators for government records, which means a lot of seniors read it, don't understand it, and feel more confused than they did before they opened the envelope. And here's what you really need to mark on your calendar going forward. This kind of double payment and skip month pattern is going to repeat itself several more times in 2026. October will have SSI payments landing on both October 1st and October 30th, which means November will have no SSI payment, and December will see payments on the 1st and again on the 31st, with that December 31st deposit actually being your January 2027 payment, arriving early because January 1st is a federal holiday. Read that again and let it sink in, because this is where a lot of people get into real financial trouble. When you see two payments hit your account in 1 month, it can feel like a bonus. It can feel like the government sent extra money. It is not extra money. That second deposit is covering the following month. If you spend both payments in the same 30 days, you will have nothing coming in the next month, and you won't have done anything illegal. You'll just be broke until the following month catches up. Now let's talk about the COLA, because the SSA's notice almost certainly referenced this, and you deserve the full picture. The 2026 cost of living adjustment is 2.8%, calculated based on the increase in the consumer price index for urban wage earners and clerical workers from the third quarter of 2024 through the third quarter of 2025. What does 2.8% actually mean for your check? For the average retiree, this translates to roughly $56 more per month, moving the average monthly retirement benefit from 2015's to around $2,071. Now, some of you watching this are thinking, $56 doesn't go very far when groceries, rent, and prescription costs keep climbing. And you're right to think that. An AARP survey found that 77% of older adults said a 3% COLA for 2026 would not be enough to help them keep up with rising prices. The 2026 COLA came in at 2.8%, even slightly below what the majority of seniors said wouldn't be enough. That's a frustrating reality, but it's the truth, and you deserve to hear it straight. There's something else in that notice that not everyone is paying attention to, and it relates to Medicare. The standard Medicare Part B premium in 2026 is $200.90 per month, an increase from the prior year. And since most seniors have that premium automatically deducted from their Social Security check, the premium increase is effectively eating into your COLA raise by about $17.90 a month. So that $56 raise, after Medicare takes its share, your actual net increase is closer to $38 for many people. That's still money, and it's real, but it's important to understand what's actually landing in your account versus what the headline number says. Now let's talk about the group of beneficiaries who have a completely different payment schedule, because this comes up constantly in the comments and questions we see. If you began receiving Social Security benefits before May 1997, or if you receive both Social Security and SSI at the same time, your payment arrives on the 3rd of each month, not on a Wednesday, and not based on your birthday. That's been the rule for a long time, but people in this group often get confused when they hear others talking about second and third Wednesdays, and they wonder if their schedule is changing. It is not. The only thing that changes for you is when the third falls on a weekend or holiday. In that case, the SSA will push your payment to the previous business day, just like they do for everyone else. Here's something that might actually surprise you, and it's one of the more practical things we can share today. If you receive benefits via direct deposit, you may actually notice your payment arriving 1 or 2 days before the official scheduled date. This happens because the SSA transmits payment files to banks ahead of time, and some banks release the funds as soon as they receive that file rather than waiting for the official date. So if you ever check your account and see the money a day early, don't panic and don't call anyone. Your bank is just being efficient. The important thing is to know your scheduled payment date so that if the money is late rather than early, you know when to start asking questions. And speaking of asking questions, let's be very clear about what to do if your payment simply doesn't show up. If your electronic payment is late, your first call should be to your bank or financial institution, not to the SSA. The issue may simply be a delay in your bank posting the payment to your account. Banks sometimes take a business day to process what the SSA has already sent. Give it that breathing room before you escalate. If you've contacted your bank and there's still no payment and no pending deposit on the way, then you call the Social Security Administration toll-free at 1-800-772-1213. They will review your case, and if a payment is genuinely owed to you, they will replace it. The TTY number for those with hearing difficulties is 1-800-325-0778. Write these numbers down right now. Put them somewhere you can find them without digging. Now here's something the SSA has been actively pushing seniors to do, and it genuinely makes your life easier. Creating a personal My Social Security account at ssa.gov gives you secure access to your benefit statement, the ability to verify your reported earnings, see your estimated future benefits, and receive your COLA notice earlier than it would arrive by mail, sometimes weeks earlier. If you're someone who relies heavily on that annual COLA notice to update your budget, getting it 3 weeks before the paper version shows up could make a meaningful difference in your planning. You can also choose to receive email or text alerts when new notices are available, so you're never sitting around waiting and wondering whether something important got lost in the mail. Think about what this actually means in real life. Right now, thousands of seniors are waiting for a notice that may have already been posted to their online account. They're checking the mailbox every day, getting anxious, wondering if something is wrong. Meanwhile, the notice is sitting right there online, ready to be read. Setting up that account takes about 15 minutes. You'll need your Social Security number, a valid email address, and either a login.gov or an ID@me account to verify your identity. If you've never set one up and you find the process confusing, call the SSA's help desk at 1-800-772-1213 and say, "Help desk," when you're connected. They offer priority service Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. local time and can walk you through it step by step. Let's also address something that's come up with a lot of people this year specifically, and that's the new tax benefit that went into effect. A new $6,000 federal tax deduction for Americans 65 and older took effect with the 2025 tax year, meaning the taxes you're filing right now, and married couples where both spouses qualify can claim up to $12,000 total. This deduction is in addition to the standard deduction and is available whether you itemize your taxes or not, and it is scheduled to continue through the 2028 tax year. If your accountant or tax preparer hasn't mentioned this to you yet, bring it up. This is real money that you are legally entitled to, and it directly reduces the amount of tax some seniors may owe on their Social Security income. The bigger picture here is this: the SSA is not out to confuse you. The calendar shifts, the early payments, the skip months, the COLA adjustments, all of it follows a consistent logic once you know the rules. But the problem is that the rules are not being communicated clearly enough, and too many seniors are finding out about payment changes after the fact instead of before. That's what this channel is here to change. Every time the SSA moves something around, every time a notice goes out that needs plain language translation, we're going to be here to break it down for you, not with jargon, not with confusing charts, but in the same straightforward way you'd explain something to someone you care about. So, here's what you should do before this week is over. Pull up the official SSA payment calendar at ssa.gov and find your specific payment dates for the rest of 2026. Write them down on a physical calendar. Old school, yes, but reliable. If you're an SSI recipient, mark the months where the first falls on a weekend so you know in advance when to expect a double payment and when there will be a gap. Set up your My Social Security account if you haven't already, so you stop relying on the mail and start getting your notices the moment they're ready. And if you have any doubt whatsoever about your payment amount, your schedule, or what your most recent notice actually means, don't guess. Call 1-800-772-1213 and get the answer directly from the people who process your benefits every single month. Your Social Security benefit is not a gift. It is something you earned through years of work, through decades of payroll taxes, through a lifetime of showing up. You deserve to know exactly when it's coming, exactly how much it is, and exactly what to do when something doesn't look right. That's the whole point of being here.